This is a duly assembled and called Greer City Council meeting, December the 9th, 2025. I'd like to ask you to join us as Councilman Jay Airwood leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance and then an invocation for council. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for being with this council throughout this year. We come to our last meeting of the year, and we look back at what you've allowed us to do and what you're going to allow us to do. And I thank you. I thank you that everyone at this desk is a servant of yours. And I pray, Lord, that everybody here tonight, all of our employees, all of our citizens, no matter what station in life we are, we need to be your servant and serve humbly. I thank you, Lord, that you have allowed me to do so. Give me and give this council the wisdom and the guidance we need to seek and do your will for your city. In Jesus' holy name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Ms. Duncan, do we have anybody to appear in public forum this evening?
No, sir.
With that then, council, let's move to the minutes of the council meeting of November the 25th, 2025. I'll entertain a motion that they be received.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Any items of note for the clerk? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper.
Yes.
Mr. Dumas.
Yes.
Mr. Bettis.
Yes.
Miss Albert.
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Mr. Merriman, the administrator's report, please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, two real quick things. First, just by way of reminder, city offices will be closed on the 24th and 25th of this month in observance of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and on January 1st in observance of New Year's. Secondly, our Discover Greer group has worked very hard with our downtown merchants for a special heartwarming holiday sponsored by Discover Greer. So this runs from December 5th through Sunday, January 4th. So you can visit participating merchants in downtown Greer as well as our own gazebo in Greer City Park to experience this holiday magic. It is, if you've not seen it, there's a lot of cool opportunities to participate in possibly some photo ops downtown, and just it continues our commitment to quality of life here in Greer, especially during the holiday season. So if you haven't done that, it will be running through January 4th. Mr. Mayor, Council, that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Council, old business is before us next. The first item before us this evening is the second and final reading of ordinance number 30-2025. This is an ordinance authorizing the closure of a portion of a public road in the city of Greer Park Avenue. Action is required. I'll entertain a motion for the purpose of discussion.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Any new information in regards to this, either Mr. Merriman or Mr. Grant, anything that council needs to be aware of?
Mr. Mayor, Council, the only thing that I would add that we would, that is part of this amended ordinance from first reading, is it clearly specifies the addition of a gate delineating the closed portion of park with TMG's property. So beyond that, and it also, it does provide for some terms for the purchase of the closed piece of property from the city. But I believe that covers it all in this particular amendment, sir.
Mr. Grant, if you would come to the podium, please. I know there was some communication with members of council in regards to some other items. I believe you can give us an update on that, please, sir.
Yes, sir. I think there was a question about paving the street, Park Avenue. I double-checked the plans, and the approved plans did call for, in addition to widening Park Avenue, that would be a new 2-inch surface on the entire street from Moore to Daniel. So basically be a new street there on Park.
There was a question, I believe, about sidewalks or something, and can you give us an update on that?
Yes, sir. The approved plans also showed sidewalk on both sides of Park Avenue, and then they tied a new sidewalk on Moore Street, which, goes either way to either Line Street or Trade Street. So there would be a sidewalk connection.
Thank you. Others, while Mr. Grant's with us?
Now, the paving is going to be below the gate also,
Yes, sir. It goes from Moore to Daniel.
and the
Daniel Street.
sidewalks?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The sidewalks are going to be on the project side on Park. Until you get past the gate, from there to Moore, it'll be on both sides.
Okay. And the gate is positioned to allow whoever the last person is there to back out properly?
That detail still needs to be worked out. Everything's been conceptual right now. I mean,
Right.
they haven't submitted any plans with dimensions or anything like that, but yes, sir, that's certainly
You're moving
certainly something
forward
we've got to look at,
with
absolutely.
that in mind?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Others?
My apologies for not being here last meeting, but my concerns are still the same. One, the council made actually a big stand on not wanting to close a road for economic development purposes sometime back. And, I don't think we ought to be closing road, because all we're going to, just like squeezing a balloon, traffic's going to shoot out somewhere else. I haven't, and maybe somebody else has, the reason we got to this point is the developer came upon a challenge that regarding utilities and costs and things like that. And their only alternative was to ask us to begin a process of seeing about closing a road. I haven't been shown anything one way or the other that the utility provider or the contractor or the developer has provided evidence of anything that we've been told. We're accepting at face value. And so we're going to take a city asset, or we're going to take the citizen's asset where, it's traffic flowing now, it's not, it's stopped, to allow for somebody's error to make them whole. It's basically saying, if you were the developer, well, we're not going to have to eat this loss that the utility provider said that we owe, and regardless of who was told, who was not told. So, one, I don't think that we really prop up businesses like that. And it may not be their fault. I mean, every business has to, every business has challenges. And I'm sure that the developer or anybody in this room who's run a business has run into challenges that they just didn't know existed, or it was something that it just popped up for whatever reason. And if you're a business owner, sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and move on. I do not think that it's our position to reduce the value of the assets of our city, try to, one, settle an argument that we weren't involved with, and try to help somebody with their business. Thank you.
By show of hand, is anybody representing TMG this evening? Mr. McCarthy, do anything you want to add at this point to the conversation?
I'm Mike McCarthy, representative of the developer TMG, live at 3801 North Dumbarton Street in Arlington, Virginia. I have nothing really to add, and I appreciate your comments, Mr. Arrowood. And I think going into this, our position was if this is going to cause harm to our neighbors, then it's not likely to go forward. And you know, we understand if the townhome community next door did not want the gate. I think after working with our neighbor and talking about the gate, they began to see some value in keeping our traffic from coming down the road, and at the last meeting stated that they were in favor of it. So I think that's the only thing that I'd add, and happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you, sir. Floor is open for discussion.
Jay, I agree with your stand. I think somebody flubbed up, and it's not really on us to fix that. But the point we have reached, I'm not sure what that solution would be. The existing inhabitants of Park Avenue seem to be happy with this resolution, and it seems to be an economically feasible way for the developer. But I agree that probably going forward in the future, this won't happen to them again. They'll be certain of that. And we did have two actual road closure. You're talking about Victor for one of them. The other was actually Bobo Street. I don't know if you were there for that or not. The CPW wanted to close it. And don't know how those people would have gotten home if we'd have done that, but we refused to do that one too. This is a little bit different situation. This is not the way home for a lot of people, other than the people on Park Avenue, I think. And I think if they're good with it, with the pending things that we've talked about here, I think it's a good solution.
Other comments? I would simply add, I'll not argue or support your point in this. I will add this. This is one of those fairly unusual, I started to say rare, but fairly unusual incidents where development has intersected the surrounding community in such a way that, there were legitimate concerns about ingress and egress and some other things. And it has been refreshing in some regards to see those that were residents here before this project got started, and then to see the responses from the developer as they've tried to work through this. And hats off to the folks that have offered suggestions. It seems to me that we are at least on the right path to addressing some of the issues that have been identified. I don't know that I'm comfortable with memorializing any more of them than we already have at this point. But to have witnessed at least conversations, which is sometimes not all that easy to have, has been enlightening on this whole situation. And so I appreciate those that have emailed and texted us in regards to the views of the residents, and to some of the individual residents who have reached out to me, and also to the developer as he works along, that his success and the success of those behind him is important to all. And I just appreciate the fact that we've gotten to where we have at this point. Others? Comments? Questions? Further discussion? Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood,
No.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas.
Yes.
Mr. Bettis.
Yes.
Ms. Albert.
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, let's move to the second and final reading of ordinance number 31-2025. This is an ordinance authorizing the conveyance of any and all interest in certain real property and a temporary easement in certain real property located inside the city of Greer. This is Suber Road in Chick Springs. That information was brought to us at our last meeting about the road project that is going to be taking place at that intersection. Any new or additional information in that regard? None. With that, then, I'll open the floor for a motion.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Floor is open for discussion. Questions?
I believe this is a good thing. Been needed for a long time.
Other comments? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas.
Yes.
Mr. Bettis.
Yes.
Ms. Albert. Yes. Mayor Danner.
Yes. Let's move to items of new business, the first of which is the final reading of Resolution 21-2025. This is a resolution approving the opioid settlement funding distribution in compliance with the South Carolina Opioid Recovery Act, covered by South Carolina Code 115810. Ms. Woodruff joins us for that discussion. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. To date, the city has funded $958,000 of the SCORE funding approved for its guaranteed political subdivision funds. Of that, you have approved $440,000 thus far, leaving a remaining balance of $518,000. In your agenda package, you'll find a proposal for Faces and Voices of Recovery of the Upstate, AKA Favor, asking for $219,968. The proposal utilizes 3 of the core abatement strategies approved by SCORF. Ms. Leslie I asked her before the meeting too. Genzer, CEO, is here this evening to go over the proposal with you. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor Danner
Yeah.
and council members. Thank you very much for having us today. My name is Leslie Pregenzer, and I serve as CEO of Favor Upstate. I'm also a woman in recovery from substance use disorder. With me tonight is my colleague Dave Pruitt, who serves as our program director, who is also a gentleman in recovery from substance use disorder. Favor Upstate's mission is simple. We exist to provide everyone in the upstate a fighting chance at recovery. We're one of only 27 nationally accredited recovery communities in the nation, and the only one in the state of South Carolina. We're only one of 3 nationally accredited organizations who have received 3 consecutive reaccreditations in the nation. And I share that to let you know that you have an incredible resource right here in your own community. Favor has been a committed partner to Greer since 2019, supporting residents through our collaboration with Greer Memorial Hospital. We've also engaged with other local service providers during that time. Since then, we've engaged 182 citizens through the emergency department, achieved a 98% bedside engagement rate, and successfully connected 61% of those individuals directly to recovery services or recovery or treatment. At the same time, we also know the broader health landscape in Greer shows that many residents continue to face significant challenges that impact their ability to access and sustain recovery. Community health needs assessments and community health improvement plans conducted by both Spartanburg and Greenville highlight 3 pressing concerns: housing instability, limited access to care and behavioral health services, and rising levels of family stress and strain. These conditions shape the daily realities of Greer families, and they underscore why expanding recovery support through SCORE funding is both timely and necessary. Favor tackles these 3 issues together, not in silos. In Greer, housing instability, gaps in health care, and family stress do not occur in isolation. They stack one on top of each other, frequently in the same families with the same individuals. Favor's model is designed to meet all 3 of those challenges at once. Our team of certified peer support specialists build trusted relationships and walk alongside individuals and families to stabilize immediate crises including unsafe or unstable housing situations, navigate complex systems of care, including access to treatment, medication-assisted therapy, counseling, social services, all at no cost, and strengthening family resilience through coaching, family support groups, and ongoing follow-up. Instead of sending people to one more phone number, Favor works as a single, low-barrier point that connects housing resources, behavioral health care, and family support into a coordinated recovery plan. By addressing the environment people live in, the care they can access, and the stress their families carry all at the same time, we reduce the conditions that drive substance use and crisis and create a more stable pathway to long-term recovery for Greer residents. Favor respectfully requests the City of Greer's partnership over a 3-year period through its SCORF allocation. We recognize awards are made annually, and we are requesting $219,968.07 for the first year of this partnership. SCORF support will allow Favor to expand access to recovery services, deliver harm reduction and education efforts, and strengthen Greer's network of community partners. With this foundation in place, I'd like to briefly walk through how each of the SCORF abatement strategies, A2, E4, and I, will directly benefit Greer residents and address the challenges identified in the Community Health Needs Assessment and the Community Health Improvement Plan. Strategy A2 increases access to life-saving resources, including naloxone, which is commonly known as Narcan, for individuals who are uninsured, underinsured, or otherwise unable to obtain critical services. This strategy recognizes that many overdoses occur in community settings and never enter formal treatment systems. Greer residents experiencing unstable or unsafe housing are among the least likely to call 911 or access health care after an overdose. Motels, overcrowded living situations, and homeless camps are environments where overdoses are often reversed by family or friends, never reaching EMS or emergency departments. A2 and Favor address this by distributing naloxone directly to people living in housing insecure situations. A2 funding allows Favor to reach individuals who may not qualify for insurance or underinsured, and individuals who avoid traditional systems because of stigma or cost. These strategies reduce preventable deaths among the most vulnerable residents. When people face long wait times, lack insurance, or lack transportation, they often go without behavioral health care indefinitely. These individuals are at greater risk for unreported overdoses that, again, never reach EMS or reported hospital data. A2 and Favor address this by providing no-cost naloxone and navigation to and underinsured Greer residents. Naloxone reaches those people who fall through the cracks of the healthcare system, those who are not captured in medical reporting, but who remain at high risk. These strategies expand safety and access for individuals who may not be able to obtain care through insurance or traditional providers. Families experiencing trauma, emotional strain, or instability often encounter barriers that keep them from accessing care, and they often do not seek or receive timely medical attention during an overdose or crisis. A2 and Favor equips families with naloxone and education, empowering them during crisis moments when formal services are not accessed. A2 allows Favor to support families regardless of insurance or ability to pay. These strategies reduce the emotional and psychological burden on family and prevents tragedies among people who may never enter the healthcare system. Housing instability, gaps in behavioral health access, and family stress all contribute to situations where overdoses occur unseen, untreated, and unreported. SCORF Strategy A2 and Favor directly address this reality by funding naloxone and outreach to people who are uninsured or underinsured, do not interact with EMS or hospitals, live in unstable or unsafe housing, struggle with transportation limitations, are navigating crisis without support. A2 funding simply allows us to scale what works and ensure Greer's most vulnerable residents have the tools they need to survive long enough to enter recovery. SCORF Strategy E4 focuses on providing comprehensive wraparound services, housing navigation, transportation, job readiness, childcare, and intensive peer support to individuals and families affected by opioid use disorder. Favor's peer support model aligns perfectly with the strategy and directly responds to the social determinants of health facing the Greer community. Rising rents, limited affordable housing. I'm just making sure I'm on the right slide here. Families cycling through motels or unsafe living arrangements all create strain and significantly increase the risk of substance use, relapse, and crisis. Strategy E4 and Favor peer support specialists help individuals and families navigate housing systems, identify available options, and stabilize their living situations. Peer support specialists engage directly with unhoused residents and families in crisis through assertive community engagement, bringing services to people who traditionally do not access them. Wraparound support reduces the stressors that make sustained recovery more difficult, creating a safer and more stable foundation for Greer residents. The result is housing stability becomes a recovery tool, not a barrier. Long waits for behavioral health care, transportation barriers, underinsurance, and a fragmented system leave many Greer residents unable to access treatment or recovery supports. Strategy E4 and Favor offer no-cost navigation to treatment, counseling, medication-assisted therapy, social services, and other resources, removing financial and system barriers. Peer support specialists meet individuals where they are, literally in this case, at motels, neighborhoods, workplaces, community locations, ensuring people who are not seeking formal support services still receive the support they deserve. Wraparound care includes help with transportation, scheduling, and solving practical problems that prevent people from accessing treatment. Community education increases awareness about how to prevent, recognize, and respond to opioid use disorder. These activities and Favor become a single, low-barrier front door to Greer's recovery ecosystem, closing access gaps that disproportionately affect vulnerable families. High levels of family instability, chronic stress, trauma, and caregiving burdens increase the risk of substance use and make recovery difficult without strong support. Strategy E4 and Favor peer support specialists provide family support, crisis stabilization, ongoing emotional support, and problem-solving guidance. Wraparound services include linking families to childcare, job training, financial literacy programs, and stabilizing resources. Recovery plans developed in conjunction with peer support specialists strengthen communication, reduce conflict, and help families rebuild resilience. Support groups and community events create a safe, stigma-free environment where families do not feel alone. The result is that families move from crisis and isolation to resilience and long-term stability. Strategy E4 addresses Greer's most pressing social determinants of health challenges by ensuring residents receive whole person, whole family support that goes far beyond treatment. Favor's peer specialists remove practical barriers, navigate treatment and community resources, build emotional and social stability, We serve as mentors, guides, and connectors, extend support directly into the community through outreach and assertive community engagement. We help strengthen family systems and relationships, and we increase access to recovery for people who traditionally do not seek services. SCORF Strategy I ensures that the City of Greer and Favor Upstate implement evidence-based, measurable, and accountable approaches to reducing opioid-related harm. Through rigorous data collection and analysis, Greer gains the ability to understand why certain social determinants of health factors, including housing instability, access to care gaps, and family stress, drive local substance use trends and how targeted interventions are producing real-life community impact. Housing, unstable housing, rising rents, motel living, overcrowding, and unsafe environments all increase risk for substance use, behavioral health crises, and isolation from services. Strategy I addresses this. Data collection will track how many housing insecure adults connect to peer support, attend recovery meetings, or receive referrals to housing resources. Tracking interactions across motels, homeless camps, or high-risk areas identifies which neighborhoods face the greatest instability, giving Greer insight into where to deploy future resources. Evidence allows the city and Favor to see which strategies reduce crises and improve stability, ensuring housing-related interventions are both responsive and effective. The result is that Greer gains a clear picture of how housing instability impacts opioid use disorder and which wraparound services are reducing harm. Long wait times, transportation barriers, uninsured, underinsured residents, and complex systems prevent many people from accessing treatment or behavioral health care. Strategy I and Favor will collect data on referral, linkages, and the number of adults connected to peer recovery support. We'll collect the number of Favor recovery meetings and attendance, which measures social connection, resilience, and access to support. Number and type of community interactions and referrals, which identifies access gaps, high-risk locations, and housing instability factors. The number of adults connected to peer recovery services, which measures increased access and reduction in barriers. The number of community events with Favor presence, which tracks community education, stigma reduction, and community engagement. Evidence-based data allows Greer to understand what not only is working, but why, and how to build a long-term sustainable response to opioid use disorder grounded in community realities. This is the heart of SCORF's vision, a coordinated, comprehensive response that reduces harm, strengthens family, and transforms long-term outcomes. Favor is already doing this work. SCORF funding simply allows Greer to bring these services to scale for its residents. There are few medical interventions that transform a person's life as swiftly and profoundly as recovery-based services. Please thoughtfully consider our request. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Would you like me to sit down?
Do you have any
Okay.
questions?
Do you have any questions?
Do we have a motion at this point? I didn't think so. With that then, for the purpose of discussion or questions, I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved. Second.
And a second. Floor is open for questions, comments, discussion.
First of all, I understand that, I believe you guys were the sole applicant. Is that, they were the sole applicant for this time around?
this round. Mhm.
Yes. And I think that we discussed, I guess the base program, right, was directly with families, is that correct?
The base program of Favor or of SCORF?
What these dollars are going to be used for?
For their proposal, there are core abatement strategies. There's 9 of them that SCORF has approved. Their proposal is covering 3 of those.
Okay, I got that, but now, how many folks, you get the dollars tonight, you walk out, what's the first thing you do tomorrow morning?
We go out and we meet the people where they are. Those are individuals and families.
Okay, so how do you know, because here's something that we don't know. We have a very high homeless population. No reason for it. Plenty of work to go around. And most people, I guess you could say, probably it's mental health or drug abuse, or both. So how do you know how many folks are homeless out there?
Since this is the start of this partnership with Greer City, this first year would be baseline data. So all of this data we'll be capturing for the first year will be telling us exactly where we need to be working and how many people are in Greer that struggle.
Okay, so we don't know how many homeless we have, correct?
It is not documented currently.
Okay, and so you guys are going to do a census or survey?
That our focus is not in providing census data. Our focus is in providing people services
I
who need
understand, but
help.
how are you going to find out how many people you're going to serve if you don't know how many people's out there?
Well, through partnerships with EMS, police, and fire department. One of the ways we do this is by going out on outreach calls with them. Other strategies include, if fire allows, to go on calls with them. And that's one of the ways that we directly impact both individuals and families. Another way is we provide HIV and Hep C testing for individuals who are unhoused, and that provides us direct access. Another way is some of our peers have been unsheltered, and so they know how to speak to others who are also currently in that situation.
All right, you mentioned a few things, I guess you gave the scientific name for Narcan.
Naloxone, yeah.
And so that's not a regulated drug?
It is available for purchase at the public, correct?
Okay.
You can buy it at
Who
Walgreens.
pays for our Narcan we carry on our trucks and in our patrol cars? We?
I think, off the top of my head, Mr. Airwood, I believe that we carry a line item, but we also have a partnership with EMS to replace Narcan if it's used and we purchased it. But I can verify that for sure. But I'm fairly certain we keep that as part of a budgeted line item.
Okay. You mentioned housing instability a lot. And you talked about rising rents, unaffordable housing, that kind of thing. But when you break that down, that comes back to a successful economy. And because if you have a successful economy, things become more valuable, rents go up, prices of things go up, so therefore housing goes up. So are you suggesting, when you're talking about housing instability, more government housing?
No, sir, I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm suggesting we help the people who are currently unhoused and help them find the housing that they need. It may be here, it may not be here.
Okay. What, for addiction, and let's just talk in very general terms. If someone becomes addicted to alcohol, opioids, anything, they have one beer, or they're prescribed for a real reason, some kind of opioid for pain, and all of a sudden they can't do without it. And I know folks that have been down this way. That's a psychological, that's a trait that's built into them, is that correct?
50% is genetic trait.
Okay, so how much of this $250,000, is that right?
219.
Is going for treatment, where either you have for 200-something thousand, you can bring in a psychiatrist or a couple of psychologists, bring them to Greer, and then people are here. They don't, is that part of the plan?
We provide non-clinical services. We are people in recovery from substance use disorder who have the unique ability to talk to people who are currently experiencing substance use
Okay,
disorder.
okay, but you're not, you can't talk to them about clinical ways to not be, or try to basically kick the habit. Is that right?
We share our experience, and
I got that, I got that.
We
but you don't-
we
but-
share methods that help.
Right, but you don't have, we don't have anybody on call or somebody, a psychologist on staff that's going to come and serve these folks, is that right?
Not through this funding request, no.
Okay. And
But that's
of
where-
the
that's where the
$200,000, how much of that stays in Greer?
$219,068.07.
And does that, what's the bulk of that expenditures?
82% goes directly to staff salary, because they are the reason that we exist.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Others?
What is your primary source of funding?
We are currently 60/40, 60% public money, 40% private contributions.
And
And that's federal, state, SCORE funding, and then the other 40% comes from charitable contributions, individuals, family foundations, et cetera.
so you can, you go to other municipalities or legislative bodies to get funding?
We cover 9 counties of the upstate.
A lot of opioid settlement there?
There's a lot of opioid issues.
Yeah, that's not what I'm asking.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, is there a lot of money to be had in those 9 counties?
Some have more than others, but yes, every guaranteed political subdivision was allocated resources.
What did you use to come up with $219,068.07?
2 things. One, based on the work that we have done in Greer since 2019, we wanted to expand on those services that we had been providing for free and be able to provide dedicated resources to Greer. And with 82% of our funding going directly to staff, we looked at 2 full-time staff persons plus another half-time, and that's where the bulk of the funding goes,
So you go
dedicated to Greer.
you go to their homes to treat them?
We prefer not to go to homes, but if that's where they like us to meet, then we'll take 2 people and go.
Where do you go otherwise?
We'll go to coffee shops, we'll take a walk through the park, we'll meet them at their place of work, wherever they're comfortable meeting. We have had experiences in the past where a certified peer support specialist has gone to a person's home, which has been an unsafe environment. And it's not appropriate for our staff to do that.
So you don't have a centralized office where people can come to you?
We do. We have 6 brick and mortar locations throughout the upstate. In Greer, we're looking to partner with Indigo Hope Neighborhood Resource Center. That's something that's currently in process. We do not have confirmed space, but that is our intended goal.
I guess this is for staff. If we allow this contribution, will we get periodic reports how this money is spent, so we'll know?
Yeah, I mean, the proposal is outlined here, that's in your agenda packet, and we, as staff, will, once funding is dispersed, we make them report to us monthly and for reimbursement. We hold the money and give it to them for reimbursement as they prove that they've done what they say they're going to do.
So this is your anticipated amount of money for a year's service?
That is correct. This is what we're asking to provide direct services to Greer for 1 year.
Got
And I would respectfully request a 3-year partnership, because we don't like going into a community and just sort of stepping in and then having to step back out.
So you're asking us to commit 3 years at $219,000?
I'm not allowed to do that.
Well, that's what I thought you said.
I would like the council to entertain a 3-year partnership, but knowing that you can only commit to 1 year of funding.
Buy one, get 2 free, is what you're saying?
What would be a measure of success that we would see in our monthly report?
Well, I think first of all, you would see number of people who have previously slipped through the cracks that we are now serving. That would be a measure of success. because your residents are now receiving care that they weren't previously accessing.
What, you had mentioned about underinsured or no insurance. What does that have to do with it?
If a
And that's
person,
insurance. That's a socioeconomic thing where somebody holds a job, they get insurance. If they don't, they don't.
yeah,
Because we have nonprofit medical facilities all around us. So treatment shouldn't be an issue, correct?
well, it shouldn't be, but it is.
Meaning how?
Because even in the FQHCs or the free healthcare clinics, time is still, you can't get an appointment today. Frequently, excuse me, I have not known of an agency where you can walk in and get care. If you go to a hospital where you are required to have insurance to cover your treatment, or
No,
else
you're
you,
not required, in nonprofits, you're not required to do that. You can go in without health
or you
insurance.
incur the bill.
You can incur the bill.
That's
like-
correct.
Like everybody else.
Yes.
Okay, so what, are there healthcare, are the Prismas and the Spartanburg Regionals and all the others that are around, do you guys look to them for help and guidance and things like that, since they're supposed to be nonprofits and serve the communities they're in?
Certainly, and in two ways we do that. One, we ask them for financial contributions, and two, for many years, almost a decade, we were the certified peer support specialists who worked within all Prisma hospitals. Since then, they have built their own addiction medicine institute and have employed their own peers. And Spartanburg Regional also has peers embedded in their system. That did not exist before Favor came on the scene.
I have issues with a lot of this, and a lot of it's just because it comes from pharmaceuticals that developed opioids, but a lot of this is not opioid directed. It's, making families stronger, which is great. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of alcohol abuse out there, and we're not hammering on the companies that make the beer and the wine and everything else, and that's probably one of the easiest drugs to get your hands on. I know that your application meets the criteria, don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's the wisest way to spend money. I don't think you'll get, I don't think, there will be success stories, but we don't need to have people who are homeless laying on our sidewalks.
We don't want you to have that either.
Well, I know that, but in order to even, in my opinion, because we have started some of this trying to figure out what to do, the easy things is, housing. Let's fuss about housing. Well, no, we don't even know how many folks we have that are homeless in Greer. And that's why I ask you about a census. And I think that's very important that we figure out how many we have, because, the $200,000 may not be enough to serve a minute percentage of the people who need it. So we're just kind of going in dark. And that's the issue I have. And you said you're spending 82% on salaries. That's a tremendous amount in any organization for labor.
Final thoughts, council, before we move on. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas.
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council items in items of new business, the second one before us this evening is discussion regarding the City of Greer Recreation, Sports, and Events Center. as it relates to the guaranteed maximum price. Approval is going to be requested. Staff is going to lead us in the discussion. This is the City of Greer received qualifications for construction manager at risk services for the construction of the center. Harper has provided the full maximum price guaranteed package to the city. And Mr. Merriman, do you, I know Mr. Sell is going to lead us in this conversation. Do you want to tee this up in any regard before we ask Mr. Sell to lead us in this discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll be glad to. Council, just to bring you up to speed on where we are from a history perspective on how we got from what is now a conceptual discussion a couple years ago to this council's consideration of the GMP after your approval of the early release packages a couple months ago for steel and site work. Just real quick, we probably about in early 2023 began the process of considering how do we address a growing need for recreation, specifically indoor recreation within the city, especially after the sale of the property over at the old Victor Gym site. So council began that iterative process. We engaged a group to do a feasibility study on that with the express directive to find out what it would take to provide the city with adequate indoor recreation facilities to service our needs as a city that provides what is top-notch recreational services. So through that process, we had a feasibility study done. From that point, we then began to build on that, both the feasibility study and the pro forma, through an iterative process with an advisory committee made up of citizens, through our Parks and Rec department. This council weighed in on all of these things, and as we began really putting pen to paper with our partners at McMillan, Paz & Smith, and Harper through the construction manager at risk process and your consideration of the two early release packages, we're here tonight to bring you what is the guaranteed maximum price to deliver this Greer Recreation Sports and Event Center. And that's what Mike's going to kind of walk you through this evening is some of the particulars of the GMP, what it has, and what it means to the project overall.
Thank you, Mr. Merriman. Floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Mr. Merriman. That's perfect. That kind of helps get to the point where I want to start and pick up the narrative that Andy, that Mr. Merriman laid out. And for our team internally, and then the team of our architectural firm and our contractor, we picked up this ball in February of this year from everything that came as Andy laid out in regards to the process to get us to that point. And that is when we were delivered, based on all that input, based on all that engagement with the steering committee, based on all the scope that was identified as to what we want to try to accomplish in this project. That's when the schematic design of where we were at that point was provided to us. And that's kind of where I want to kind of start from and then take us to where we are tonight. And it'll be real brief. But for us, that's 30%. That's at 30% drawings. And that gives you a base price and a base understanding of approximately where you are based on what your vision is, what your scope is, and what is included in that. At that 30% design, what was brought to us at that time was a 216,000 square foot facility that was at a price of $72 million, just a little over $72 million. From that point forward, up until July of this year, we spent time working with our partners and working internally in refining that scope to bring us to what we call design drawings, which is a 60% design set. which is identifying the things that we need to reduce, the things we need to increase, the things we need to make sure that we have, the things that we overlooked, the things that maybe we shot a little too high for, and we need to bring it in a little bit more in line with what was feasible. Once we got to the 60% drawings through the work that we did in working with our partners, we ended up at that point with a 205,000 square foot facility, which is the size of the facility that we have today, at a price tag of $69,628,000, just a little over $69.6 million. From July until tonight, the staff continued to work with our partners to refine that and get that in line, to clearly pin down those costs, identify the subcontractors that be working on this project, and get the pricing in line, and to make sure that all the fine details were worked out. That process throughout, from the 30% to now, prices, some areas go up, some areas go down. The objective for us is to bring the price down. The price that's in the GMP that's before you tonight reflects $69,334,000. So we further refined those numbers by another $300,000 to get that in line with what both our architectural partners, our construction partners, and the city are comfortable with and presenting to council as the guaranteed maximum price for this project. Included in your pack is some information, as well as some information that I provided you at your desk tonight, which is a schedule of values, which breaks down those costs in a line item by line item format. I don't intend to go through that line by line, but those lines, as you go through and take a look at each of those areas, brings us to the price, the guaranteed maximum price of $69,334,076. A few things that I do want to note in the cover letter, or in the cover information, the executive summary that was provided to us from Harper, it identifies the scope. It says it includes 8 basketball courts, 16 volleyball courts in the main gym, 1 basketball and 2 volleyball courts in the auxiliary gym. But there is much more to the project than that. Those 2 items, the main gym's about a little over 91,000 square feet. The auxiliary gym is about 10,000 square feet. We also have a wrestling room that is at approximately 6,100 square feet. We have 2 flex room spaces, one of them at 2,600 square feet, another flex space, which is 4,000 square feet. Our receiving, mechanical, loading dock area, our storage area, large storage area for equipment and supplies, 5,400 square feet. We have a shell space that is identified for a tenant occupation for the facility at 3,500 square feet. Community room at 5,200 square feet. Our city offices for our staff that will be housed in the building is at 1,700 square feet. We have a cafe at 2,000 square feet, sports simulation lab at 1,800 square feet. We have a fitness gym at 4,800 square feet, which also includes our locker rooms. Indoor track that is just a little over a quarter of a mile. Concessions are throughout the building. Exterior-wise, we have walking path that's over a mile long. We have what we are calling the front porch, which is in the front facing of the building, which is a wide porch veranda. We have a courtyard that is on the 14 side of the building. We have our 551 parking spaces, and of course the open space field that is up there fronting Buncombe. I just bring all that to attention that there's a lot more in this than is what is. It's not just basketball courts, it's not just volleyball courts, but it does have a lot more in it. The other thing I would like to point out, just to bring council's attention, is to make sure we're all on the same page, is that this guaranteed maximum prices before you tonight does not include furniture, fixtures, and equipment. That is our office furniture, the furniture that will be in our community room, the cafe furniture, and we also have a movable bleacher seats that are not included. That's going to be in a furniture package that we will be bringing to council at a later date as a separate package. We have begun the early stages of formulating what is contained within that, and then find not only how much we need, but the quality of that product that we want to have in place. And we just weren't at a position to be able to include that number in here comfortably. That's probably going to come in somewhere from zero. We're probably around $500,000 to $750,000 is what we're trying to target for that package. But we are in the process, but I did want to make sure that council understood that that package is not included in this guaranteed maximum price. That will be brought to you as a separate item. At this point, I think that I'll just open it up and allow council to ask any questions that you may have.
Council, for the purpose of discussion, I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
Second.
And a second. Floor is open for questions, discussion, or comments at this point.
Mike, I sat down and I did the fly-through of the building. And, one of the things I brought up was about the height of some doors going into. How many overhead doors do we have in there?
There is an overhead door, obviously, at the receiving room coming out from the outside to the inside. Out of that receiving room is another overhead roll-up door that goes out into the main gym. And then we have roll-up doors from the wrestling room to the auxiliary gym.
Is there anything special about, my question is, they have a line item for overhead doors, and it's over $500,000. I mean, are they specialty door? I don't.
There are also, and Mr. Airwood, excuse me, there are also overhead doors, and correct me if I'm wrong, if they're technically overhead doors that separate the main lobby from our cafe. Do those qualify as overhead doors? I see our architects not. So to answer your question, they're the industrial type doors, and then there are some decorative overhead doors that are part of that larger package.
And all of our flex space have those kind of doors coming out of those flex space rooms as well.
Yes, sir.
Like you mentioned, seating. Now, we do have a line item in here for stadium seating.
Yes.
And what is I guess that's fixed
That's the fixed seating that's in the auxiliary gym.
in the auxiliary gym? Okay, all right. And I'm just going to get complete, and anybody, Mr. Merriman, anybody on staff that can help answer this. One of the reasons we got to a larger building and additional cost is one, we wanted to, for our recreation, our folks in the city who utilize the building. When we began, it began because we're out of space for programming. Then we came into, well, all right, we've got to build something, and we need to build something large enough for not only now's programming, but down the line a lot. And then as we were talking about that, I think Mr. Merriman brought up, hey, there's an opportunity to capture sports, recreation, tourism, tax dollars. And so that's how we got on to where we are today. I guess
that is accurate, yes,
now,
sir.
my question is, at this point, because I know we have it with our police and fire training facility. That's going to be state-of-the-art, second to none, probably the best facility in the state. People are going to want to come and be trained there, not just from Greer, but from all around. As best as we can, are we going to be the provider of a facility that's second to none in our state to our competitors? Rock Hill, anybody else who has places that they try to attract different tournaments and things like that. Have we tried to think through everything, and have we tried to look at our competitors just to make sure we're not really duplicating, or if we are duplicating, what else are we offering?
Mr. Airwood, I'll answer that question.
Okay.
And I think the best way to start is by directing council and anybody else within the sound of my voice to look around the city now, to look at the city's facilities and the expectation that was set upon completion of those facilities. This building, City Park, the streetscape, the things that we have done over the last 2.5 decades have been second to none and have been a catalyst for everything positive that you are seeing in and around Greer. I want to preface my comments with that because I do think that that is a standard by which we have, as a staff, have said this is baseline. How do we go to that next level? So to answer your question about this idea of competition, in a lot of ways it's an apples to pickles comparison. We are building a city recreation facility first, and that has been something that both Ann Cunningham and her staff have understood this to be, that this council has understood this to be, and that administration has directed our partners to focus on, that this is absolutely a city recreation facility first. I would go as far as to say that you're not going to find anyone else in the Southeast that provides recreation or will provide recreation for its citizens and visitors to the level that we're doing here. But we are going to meet those needs first. The icing on the cake, if you will, is going to be capturing sports tourism dollars, which are already starting to see the fruits in signed contracts for both 27, 28, and now 29. So I think this idea of being competitive is apt because we will be attracting things and offering something that no one else is offering, but more to the point, we're offering something to our citizens that no one else is offering, and that is a first-class recreation facility.
Thank you.
Others?
What was the original price?
The original,
It was 150,000.
yes, ma'am. In the original feasibility study and the pro forma that was done, made some assumptions. Obviously, the assumptions was 150,000 square foot facility. On the high end, about $58 million. But again, that was predicated on different uses. Obviously, the primary uses would have been basketball and volleyball, but there were different assumptions made in that facility, things like esports, things like an indoor play area, a ropes course, those kind of things that through the process of engaging our citizens and the advisory committee that was brought in and then through council, those things kind of found themselves pushed out with new things pushed in, and then continuing along the intent to bring even more opportunities for public use. And I'll point to the community room. I'll point to the flex space. I will also point to the existence of tenants that will provide top-tier medical provision, either through orthopedic cardiac rehab. There's a number of things in this facility that it's not just basketball and volleyball. It's not for lack of a better term, it's not a fire extinguisher. It's not a one thing. It's not used for one thing. This is a Swiss Army knife for everyone in this city. There's something there for everybody, and that's how we got to the additional square footage.
So what square foot are we looking at?
Right now, we're at about 205,000 square feet.
205.
Yes, ma'am. And which works out to about $338 a square foot, which is down from the initial feasibility and pro forma estimates of about $250, $260 a square.
What are these, and it may have already been said and I may have missed it, but like these contractor contingencies, 2%, 774,000, and then the design contingency and owner contingency, all in the upper 100,000s. What are those related to?
Go
Ms.
ahead, Mike.
Albert.
Go ahead, please.
Good question. To review those, in the projects, in any projects that we do, we always build contingency funds in there for the situations where each one has a purpose. I'll refer you for the contractor contingency to their cover letter in the executive summary. that describes what the intended uses for those contingency funds are. They are to help kind of shore up for subcontractor coordination issues, scope gaps, premium time costs incurred to accelerate the schedule, costs incurred due to weather delays, design, construction coordination issues, subcontractor defaults, and unanticipated general conditions. It's just the things that the contractor can't plan for that are the unanticipated cost. It's without those kind of being built into it for them, especially under the CMAR process that we have established, it gives them the flexibility to absorb those costs as they come along. For the other contingency funds, like design contingency or the owner contingency, those are purely, the owner contingency specifically is purely at our discretion. Those are if we decide halfway through that we want to add to the scope of the project to bring something to the table that we had not planned for, that it gives us the ability to bring those things into place. For example, we at the time that we bring the furniture, fixtures, and equipment package, if it's late enough in the process and we have contingency funds left over, some of those that's the owner contingency. Some of those funds can go to pay for that without us having to add to the contract. The design contingency is kind of a middle ground, and what it allows us to do is those things that we haven't fully, completely completed the process of design. I'll give you a perfect example. One of the toughest things to design on any project is your IT infrastructure, your AV infrastructure. Those type of things are flexible and usually start to be informed by environmental conditions. We have a design and we have a plan in place, but invariably in any project that we've done throughout the whole time I've been here with the city, there's always things that come up that is like, okay, we've got to complete the design in this particular area and it's going to require more cable here or some extra conduit there. Those extra costs that may be incurred get absorbed through that contingency. The owner contingency and the design contingency, for any of those dollars that aren't spent by the end of the project, 100% of those dollars come back to the city. So anything that we don't spend in that, we get back. In the contractor's contingency, any of those dollars that are left over at the end of that, we share those savings. 75% of those savings come back to the city, and 25% of those savings go to the contractor if there's any money left in those line items.
Comments?
I've got really one request, and it's not necessarily concerning the GMP, but it's really more about the signage. I know this project gets a lot of eyes from the public, and some of the things we've done with the security screening around the site, I really would like our contractor to revisit that look, the way that it looks now currently, where we went after the fact and added the 4 Greer. If you go around the upstate and look at some of the other projects, you'll see that there is some consistency with the signage around the site, especially with this project not being done to 2027. We've got a whole year or so to deal with the signing issue. And I really would like for them to revisit how we're, from a public perspective, how we're looking at that security screening with adding, City of Greer or however they need to do that.
Ms. Booker, thank you for that. I know that we've had that discussion previously, and I appreciate you bringing that up. I'm happy to report that we have already been in discussions with the contractor. In fact, they have, as we entered into that, they proactively have indicated to us that they are looking at that, and we will address that, and that will be addressed as you described. Thank you for that.
Just want to make sure this is clear for me, and also just highlight it, for all involved. The shift in, we had this initial, this is what we think is possible, where we are now, the GMP that we're considering tonight. Those changes, those shifts, what we've gotten rid of, what we've added, the increased square footage, all of that has been driven by what are the things that have driven those changes over the last however many months, would we say?
I would say a number of is really just an intentional process to build a project that will serve all facets of our community. And we have a very active, very engaged advisory committee that is very diverse, both in their experience with community centers, their time in Greer. We've got some seniors, we have some folks that are a little bit younger, but they have all poured themselves into what this facility is going to be. And what you see today in front of you and what y'all are considering in the GMP is the result of that. We know we've got to have a rec facility, full stop. What does that look like? Well, there's nothing better to engage the end users, and those end users are the ones that have helped animate this project.
Yeah, were you going to add anything?
I can echo exactly what Mr. Merriman has said. And I mean, throughout the process, you're always taking a look at, I will say that the scope of this project is very large. The thoroughness of our city team, the thoroughness of our partners with our architectural partners and our construction partners, the dive into this to examine each and every corner, aspect, and piece of this project was done over this period of time. Multiple meetings, multiple discussions, multiple exchanges of ideas that were taken back to the steering committee and reviewed by them in order to refine what we were wanting to do. As I mentioned, sometimes it causes the price to go up and sometimes it causes the price to go down. I'll give you just two examples of that part of the process. One of them is like the fitness gym. As we were looking initially at the fitness gym, it has locker rooms, but those locker rooms did not include a shower. And initially, we were like, we don't want a shower. They can come in, work out, go home, take a shower at home. But as we started examining how the facility would be used and the fact that we would want those individuals to possibly engage, stay at the cafe, go to the golf simulator, do other things, and how a lot of gyms function today, having showers for those who want to use them is good. So now each locker room has a shower. That added a little to the scope. As we looked at the spaces, and we looked at spaces like the lobby space, and as you come into, and we've had a lot of discussion about how we want the lobby area to look, whether there be artwork, what's the design of it, what's the feel of it, what type of flooring is going to be in place, how it's painted, and that type of thing. Terrazzo flooring in that space and what it will do and how it will contribute to the look and feel and the durability, it made a lot of sense. But then we said, do we need to carry terrazzo throughout other parts of the building that we had additionally identified? One of them being the community room and the flexibility of that space. We identified that we could probably put down a high-quality flooring at a lower cost in that community room, similar to the other types like polished concrete that we have over at the Cannon Center. But now it's painted concrete, but it used to be polished concrete. But we identified that's where we could have some cost savings by not having that scope in that particular area be the same as it is in the lobby. So there's always that trade back and forth, but every time, and to go back a little bit to what Andy said, and being that I've been here for a while and worked with this council for a long time, I know that it's always been council's directive to us on any of the projects that we have carried out to deliver in multiple ways. One is that it's reflective of our community, but it also is at a quality and a standard that has an impact on our community and the visitors to our community. And this project was no different, is that is maintained, that's been consistent since when I first got here and we did these facilities and all the other projects that have been mentioned that we've done since then, and that is carried through in this project, and that's been the intent for that, is to deliver something that it isn't, I'm not putting marble floors throughout the whole facility, but I'm gonna make sure there's enough quality in there that when people walk in, they will go, this is what we have invested in our community for it, and they'll understand why the investment was made, and they'll understand. They won't go, I can't believe we spent this on that. What they're going to say is, now I know what my money bought. That's been the intent of this project.
I appreciate what you both have explained. I think that's really kind of what I was hoping to bring out is, the community-driven, input that's been very thoughtfully sought out in this process. And then also the emphasis on trying to find the flexibility for the facility. I'm still getting questions and comments of, well, you guys are building an arena, are you building a gym or a sports facility? No, I think we're still in the process of telling that story, but I appreciate where we are. I appreciate the thoughtfulness that's gone into it. The reason why I supported this from the start is because, first and foremost, the need for our community that's been highlighted. The facility is for our citizens, first and foremost. For existing programming that didn't have the space to do what we needed to do currently, for programming that we haven't been able to do, that we're going to be able to do, for programming we haven't even thought of yet, that we are going to be able to think of and do as our citizens ask for it. The flexibility, I think, is probably we can't even wrap our minds around what we're going to be able to do as a community in these spaces. The community room, the flex space, even the flexibility of the main gymnasium space, right? This is not a basketball gym or a volleyball court. You think it up and we can do it in this space. And so I appreciate that emphasis on flexibility. Government at any level, in any form, is best when it's proactive, and that's another reason why I feel like this is a good investment for our community. Yes, we need this space now to do everything our citizens deserve, but this is going to serve thousands and tens of thousands of our citizens for decades into the future. And I think that's a win for our community. And just the fact that we are going to support local businesses and be able to offset even the operation of the facility, I think that makes it a slam dunk. And so I'm encouraged by, again, what you're bringing to us tonight. It's fair to acknowledge it is a significant investment, but our community deserves this, and it's going to pay off for us in the long run. So I appreciate the work. And I'll just say I appreciate the work of the steering committee and all of our volunteer citizens who have been part of this process for so many months as well. I know it's been a labor of love and much effort that's gone into it, and there's a lot of effort ahead, and I'm excited to see what comes of it.
I am curious, we started out at 150,000-ish square feet, and we're now at 205, whatever the number is. I'm curious from the steering committee side of things, it sounds like there were some non-negotiables that increased that size. Could you kind of walk through what that looked like from a feedback perspective that created that additional space?
I'll be glad to jump in on that one, and I can tell you right now, it was the auxiliary gym. It was absolutely the auxiliary gym. And I think the auxiliary gym is a fantastic point of reference on the project itself, purely because the auxiliary gym represents two things. The flexibility for instance, dance or cheer, or even possibly dramatic performances that can take place in that, and it's set up to do that. But more to the point is the users that are going to come in and pay the city to utilize these facilities. That set us apart. That was a difference maker in bringing a national or regional tournament to our facility, was the existence of the additional court, more to the point, the additional seating that can go in there to provide a championship type experience for those weekend tournaments. So that to me is truly the case study in this particular project of where we got to with the increase in square footage.
What I hear you saying there, maximizing return on investment.
Yes, sir. Well, exactly. Maximize return on investment from the perspective of if sports tourism dried up tomorrow and it wasn't going to happen, we still have a facility that's going to serve not only the citizens of Greer, but Greenville and Spartanburg County for decades to come. And you decide what you want to do in there, and it can be accomplished.
Well, and that's whether it's people coming from the bottom side of Greenville County or Tennessee. We don't mind them coming here.
We don't.
Supporting our businesses.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely.
And I'll share what I told the mayor earlier, that I think this project here is a great indication of New Greer. Our demographics, our growth, we're not the same town we were 10 years ago. And as much as we try to preserve that, Greer, we do the best we can, but with the development that we've had and the influx of young people, let's put it flat, it's young people that has changed the demographic of this area, and this speaks directly to them, but it's also useful for every other citizen. That's the best thing about it, is it speaks to everybody.
I think one of the things that has occurred to me through this conversation, and they're with us here tonight, and I'm getting ready to put them on the spot, but we've talked about our design team at Millen, Passenger and Smith. We've talked about our contractors with Harper. You know, it would be easy for us to say, well, this is their business and this is what they do. But the interaction that I have had with them, and specifically even an interaction today, it occurred to me that this is more than just a project to these folks. I mean, we talked about the fact that we're going to have a quarter-mile walking track around these basketball courts. And there was some talk between I think the contractor and the designers about the quality of the rubber on the track. And when we're down to that level of care about a building, I think it is amazing that, you know, these guys do this day in and day out. And, you know, there was a story about one of the most critical parts of this entire building could be supplied by a local contractor. And these folks determined that this wasn't the best product for what they were going to be putting out. I had a question about, you know, one of the sides of the building has got a lot of windows down on it, and I said, where's the sun come up and where is it set? I don't want somebody shooting a free throw and they're, you know, have to put sunglasses on. And they'd already done a solar study to determine the orientation of the building. And that kind of detail says to me that they're proud about what they're doing. And if anybody from your team wants to come up and address that, I know I've been going back and forth pretty regularly down past the high school, and what a beautiful school that is, and how it was done in a timely fashion. If anybody from Millen, Paston and Smith or Harper, either one, want to put a plug in for what y'all do and how important this project is, and the level of care that y'all are putting into this, I think this is an appropriate time for it to happen. So if KJ, if you want to say anything, if anybody from Harper wants to talk about this building, you're welcome to come up here and take the podium.
A modest group.
Well,
Let me echo your comments, Mary. I think that I have been very impressed with, I'll give you a couple examples, the divider curtains that are in the space, the gym equipment, what Harper and MPS and their teams did in bringing us the various vendors that we could use. They showed us their products and went over every aspect of about why I picked this and what this does and how it folds and how it stores up at the top and how it comes down, and whether there's a weight bar at the bottom, or whether you want the detail and the concern and the care of bringing to us the options so that we fully understood what we were selecting, because ultimately it comes back to our team to go, yes, this product is the product we're going to take. Many times on many projects, on many aspects of any project, there are times where you're just taking a shot in the dark sometimes. You kind of get a feel and you say, yeah, that's what I want to do. Sometimes it works out great, sometimes it doesn't. But the amount of time and effort spent on their part to make sure that we were fully informed so that we made a well-informed decision went above and beyond what we have experienced in previous projects. And I can't echo my thanks to them and our team's thanks to them for the times that they were able to do that for us on the things that ultimately were the fine touches for this project, the things that are going to be, whether it be something that's operationally, whether it's durable, or whether, it's like how much of the top part of it's see-through, so that if you're up on the elevated walking track and you're looking down, you can see across the gym and see the far court and who's playing on that, not just the court that's in front of you. All of that was taken into consideration and discussed as we were selecting those products. And it just goes to show the level of care that they had and the level of care that was given to the project.
Others? Comments, questions, discussion?
Well, I want to thank Mr. Merriman for getting back to me. I had a ton of questions for him leading up to this. This is obviously a big decision for all of us tonight, and there was a pretty substantial increase in the ask between the initial price and this, but I appreciate the thoroughness of going through the process tonight, speaking to that, and I want to reassure everyone here tonight, if you're concerned that the other three projects are not going to get funded as a result of the increase here, Mr. Merriman tells me that is not the case, and we're going to continue to fund those three projects as well. We're going to continue to move forward there, and he anticipates that we're going to be in the black quicker than we first initially anticipated, and possibly in year one versus year three. That's positive. We also we talked a lot about sports, but there's all this non-sport revenue and opportunity that's going to be created through this facility. So I'm glad to hear that reiterated tonight. And I supported this project off the get, and I'm going to continue to trust and support that this is the right decision for the long term for the city. And I look forward to this getting on the ground and all these moving parts finally coming to fruition, and the citizens of Greer getting to see the benefit of the decisions of council and staff and the group that the advisory council and the team from McMillan, Pasden, Smith, and Harper, and all the hard work that you've done. So we look forward to all this coming to fruition and being a benefit for the citizens of Greer.
I will wrap us up with a quick history lesson here, because some of you were a part of this. We started the discussions about this building and park in 2008. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the original estimate, if I'm remembering correctly, was somewhere in the $10 to $12 million neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
We added a courthouse, a police station, a new detention center, dispatch, the city park, and a Cannon Center. I think we wound up opening up all of those within a couple of years of this, maybe even the same year, 2012, at a cost of about $24 million.
Yes, sir.
Most of y'all, if not all of you, maybe with the exception of one or two, have a vivid memory of 2017 when we started talking about the Trade Street project, Phase 1 and Phase 2. Initially, that project was just a couple of $1 million.
Yes, sir.
By the time we had finished Phase 1 and Phase 2, those two projects were probably close to $20 million, $18 to $20 million.
Yes, sir.
And now we're talking about this new recreation facility. And while the numbers seem big, I have no doubt whatsoever that when we look back on the discussions that started late in 23, early in 24, I don't know which one, we will have another success story to add to this legacy. Any other final thoughts before we vote? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Earwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Ms. Albert?
Yes.
Mayor Danner?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Council, we do have one matter to consider tonight in executive session. I don't think we will be long, but we will ask for this room. So if you want to stick around, I don't think we will be very long. But I am going to have to ask to clear the room for a contractual matter. Will somebody make that motion, please, sir? Or ma'am?
Somebody else make it. I can't read this on my screen.
Okay.
Let me open it.
Mr. Mayor, I move to enter into executive session to discuss a contractual matter pertaining to Project Keystone as allowed by state statute, section 30-4-70A2.
Comes as a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Do I hear a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood?
Yes.
Mr. Booker?
Yes.
Mr. Hopper?
Yes.
Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Ms. Albert?
Yes.
Mayor Danner?
Yes. Council, any further stated business this evening?
Yeah, I'd like to bring up one thing, if y'all don't mind. I know I had talked, and, just my last spiel here. First of all, I'll say I appreciate everybody, and I appreciate the opportunity of being on the council. I'd already said that. But I know that several months back, I had spoke with the mayor in regards to possibly doing a employee engagement type survey. And I'd also talked with the mayor and Mr. Merriman at one time, back when we were doing the budget. And so I just wanted to bring that forward and hope that they will do that. I feel like the employees, and when I say employees, everyone that works for the city, even Mr. Merriman, Mike, whoever, Reno, Jim, they're all employees. So to have a type of survey, it would give them, the employees, a type of, okay, maybe they do care. Maybe I can go ahead and maybe someone that wouldn't come out and say a good idea or a good work solution might put that on the survey if it's anonymous, So I just feel like it would make the employees feel like they maybe are important, that you really do care what's going on. So I would appreciate that if y'all would.
Andy could do that in his spare time.
No, but we've continued to talk about that, and we've wrestled with it just a little bit. It's not that we hadn't thought about it or forgotten it completely. One of the things that I think that we are going to do is this year we're bringing in some professional help for our strategic planning to help us in that. And one of the things I think that we're going to be talking about in regards to both strategic planning, but also in some regards is going to be culture. And that may be an opportunity for us to include that in our strategic planning, which would give us an opportunity maybe to reach back out to these folks that are going to be leading this effort to say, is there an instrument that would help us, and if the council finds that would be something that they would want to continue to do.
Well, you just know that going from 200-something employees to almost 400, that a lot of things have changed. A lot of regulations have changed. A lot of rules have changed. A lot of different people have come into position and things like that. So, but I do feel like it would be something that would show the employees that you do care and you would like to hear from them and hear some of their opinions. So that would be my last request there.
Well noted.
Thank you.
Any other business?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to authorize the city administrator to enter into contractual negotiation pertaining to Project Keystone.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? Questions? Comments? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood?
Yes.
Mr. Booker?
Yes.
Mr. Hopper?
Yes.
Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Ms. Albert?
Yes.
Mayor Danner?
Yes. Council, we stand adjourned.